I need to talk through this. I'm sitting here cleaning, and sometimes that helps me think about that last message and how I don't mean to downplay the West, though, either, because it was like, the good thing is your ego will sometimes push you to go further outside your comfort zone, too, to face different fears and whatnot. In other words, saying how some cultures, they stick with what they're good at, and then they end up mastering and excelling and then leading a really happy life too, because it is the idea of like accepting what is and allowing that beautiful flow and that universal flow to go through them and feel amazing and da-da-da-da. And we need to have the balance too, where this is, I think, why we fall asleep and wake back up, because there's times we're in charge and there's times we let the universe be in charge. And we can see the difference on what serves us and what doesn't. And we can grow and expand. And it's interesting what they're showing, because they are showing, before they were showing it the way I understood it, where it is almost like the universe is our brain and we're the experiencing, feeling body. And that flow is such a symphony and beautiful, but they're actually showing, and then sometimes when we, what I call like fall asleep, is when we get in our head and get in our ego and think we are God, but then God will push through our heart so then it can still balance out or be beautiful. But we can see how it can be more challenging and difficult on us because we don't know everything. We're not God. So then it can almost be comical in that sense. And yet that can also push us to do things to expand and grow outside our comfort zone, which can be good or it can just be another learned lesson. I think I'm struggling with how to verbalize this is because they were showing somebody in particular who's an actor, and he, I think, got into it late in the game just for what we're used to seeing. And then decided to, now he's a producer and writer and all these things, which we could also consider a natural evolution. But the way they were showing this example was, it took him a long time to get into what his heart was calling for. And then when he did, he was that like outbreak star, burst out star kind of thing, right? It was like he got rewarded for finally honoring himself and loving himself, is how we can see it or look at it. Like the universe blessed him by making him the breakout star, because even at a later age than most actors enter the business, he entered and then was, quote, the breakout star, because he finally followed his heart. But then he did get tons of praise and all these things and allowed it to go to his head. And he now does all these other avenues. And not that he's not good at them, but I'm trying to verbalize what I think they're attempting to show me is that idea of, again, you're going to have to forgive these words because I'm trying to understand it myself. It's like, instead of being satisfied or grateful and whatnot with like arriving there, he didn't. But one could also argue that's a good thing. He continued to push himself, knowing that he had to push himself to finally try his heart's desire. So now he continues to push himself. And is it, are you pushing yourself for the enjoyment of doing it? Or are you pushing yourself chasing that feeling of getting praised from those outside yourself for going beyond your comfort zone? And that's the distinction. I hope you heard it. Let me see if I can verbalize it better. Like I had explained in other cultures where they continue to do it because it feels good, and because it feels good and they continue to do it is essentially practicing it, and because you're practicing it, you've mastered it. And we can look at it that way, or we can understand it the way I do as well in different language of, because you're truly honoring your heart's desire, the universe continues to flow through you. And the more the universe throws through you, the more you feel good. And you feel good because you're opening up to honoring yourself. And then in turn, the universe can flow through you more. And that feels amazing. So you continue doing it, which is a form of practice. And so then you get rewarded by feeling really fucking good, because it feels good to have the universe flow through you. And in turn, outwardly in the 3D, it's like naturally, magically, automatically becoming a master at something, when it's not that something that you were looking to necessarily master as much as it was just to feel good. And you knew doing that felt good because it was opening yourself up to universal flow. And that's honoring yourself and loving yourself. And so, I'm trying to get there. And so you just keep doing it for those reasons, right? And so if you continue to follow that feeling of feeling good and honoring oneself and not getting in your head, not thinking about it, not overthinking it, not that kind of thing, you might naturally begin to progress or push yourself in ways with, again, the intention and the focus. Again, it can sound selfish, always coming back to how you feel, right? Like it feels really good. It feels right. It feels peaceful. It feels easy. It feels like flow. It feels amazing. And so it's not chasing for the outside validation to keep pushing and keep going. Because you don't even look at it as pushing or keep going per se, because you're not thinking about it. It's just what feels good, and that's your flow. Okay, I still don't know that I verbalized it well. Maybe even the previous one, when I didn't think it was verbalized well, was a better translation or understanding where it's like we do want to continue to face our fears, push ourselves out of our comfort zone into the unfamiliar, the unknown, which is working with the universal flow, and it's unknown because we stop thinking, right? We don't try to direct and dictate and control, but we instead allow and choose to get into our body and feel and move towards what feels amazing. And we allow that partnership, that co-creation with the universe, and that trust, that's blind trust, right? Like, I can feel it, but I can't see any other thing. But God, universe can, Allah, source, sees all, knows all, the whole thing. So we're working as a team. It is that blind faith, and so I think because we in the West tend to make a bigger fuss, maybe that's what it is. And again, I'm so ignorant to this. Maybe they do in other cultures as well, but what they were showing previously was not the case. It wasn't. It's like they are encouraged, they are blessed with, doing well and excelling. So let's just use the teapot again, right? Like so then everybody goes to that teapot maker to get their kettles made, and they sell all over the world because they are the finest craftsmanship. They are the best. They are spectacular. They are whatever. And so it is like that blessing from the universe where they are acknowledged, they are accredited in that sense, they are given blessings of financial abundance and whatnot, but that's not why they continue to do what they're doing. And they don't stop doing what they're doing because they've gotten enough from the exterior, because it's never anything to do with the exterior. They're not starting or stopping what they're doing based on any exterior motivation or demotivation, right? It's not why they're doing what they're doing, right? Again, they've tapped into that understanding of truly their heart's desire. And again, not that we have it in the West, but I think they have a better grasp of it just from a cultural reference. And again, could be totally ignorant, so forgive all this. Please just try to hear the deeper message where they're showing. And again, this is also my understanding and my ignorance playing in, but in the West, we too tend to seek that confirmation, right? We do. I mean, I know I do. You've heard me cry about it on here, where when you are not acknowledged on the outside And I guess that's the other, yeah, they're showing, okay, so it's more than that too. Okay, so how do I verbalize that? So they're showing like, I'll continue doing what I'm doing because it feels amazing and following that same philosophy I just shared with you in other cultures. And yet the practicality and reality of living comes into play. And so I guess it's finding that balance. Or maybe that's what they were showing earlier too, where it's not that you can't continue to push yourself and do other things. It's that, again, it's like other cultures don't necessarily get in their head about it and make it more complicated than it needs to be. They enjoy the art of living, right, and experiencing, not to compare or compete or to race or to rush or to get validated. And yet they also recognize they had to find that balance of living, right, and living their best life. And so it's like there is that fine line and balance where maybe it's more screaming at us in other cultures where it's like you can't slow down and relax and do, get that flow and all that stuff because you need a house, you need food, you need these things. And so then we it's almost like you get forced into your head. But that's, again, a whole cultural thing, right? In other cultures, you can live at home for a much longer time and your family takes care of you and then you take care of your family. Like some of these things that we may look down upon, they have a deeper meaning. It's not about, and not that things can't change and evolve over time, but it's also that understanding of the enjoyment of life. And again, you don't want to get it entangled or enmeshed in other dynamics or misunderstandings or mishinges. And so it is a fine line. It is a dance. It is a fundamental understanding of certain things. Otherwise, it can tip too much one way or the other. And again, I think if we boil down all the words and avoid all the trip ups and the traps, it all boils down to, are you aligned with your truth? Is your heart open? Are you allowing that universal flow to lead you so that you can feel, experience, live this life in the way you came to do such? And the way you came to do such is to live, to feel, to experience, not to think and dictate and control and judge and deem and decide and work yourself into a frenzy. That's not our job. Our job is not to think, right? It isn't to... It is, I know that can sound really funny, right? But hopefully if you've been listening to the past few, you understand what I mean by that. Where it's almost like I'm saying, don't get in your ego where you think you're in charge and in control. And again, I don't want you to be lazy either. It is such a balance and an understanding of all these dynamics, but in such a beautiful flow and ease of it, because it isn't about... again, if you mistranslate it, you could think it like be lazy or not to, and it's like, oh God, not at all, not at all. It is to truly open up your heart, to allow, to feel, to drop that fucking ego of ours that can grow so massive and block us. We can't see anything when we're blocked by our ego. I mean, I've lived in those states and it's, you look back and you're mortified, but don't worry, you'll be mortified again, right? It's because we bump our little heads and swell again. And so, but hopefully each time we're learning, hopefully each time we wake up, we have learned those lessons so that the swelling doesn't take over for as long, right? Maybe that's a better way to say it. It's like we heal quicker each and every time not because we're not getting bumped on the head again, but because, we're learning where the thing we bump our head on is, so that we can start bobbing and weaving the correct way. And so when we recognize we're headed right for something, we can be like, oh, that's my head thinking, let me relax and move out of the way. Relax, right? And I don't know that I did a beautiful dance of this translation at all, but hopefully you heard it. Thanks so much for tuning in and listening. You can now purchase an audio journey with me using the link below.